And to say that I lived pretty promiscuous life is somewhat true. And I'll just say I wasn't living life according to the Catholic Church. So I found myself pregnant. And this was in my early 30s. And the father of the child said, get rid of it. And at the time, my parents were not supportive at all. So I went through my first abortion. Then after I left him, a few years later, I found myself living with a man, and I was pregnant again, and I had a second abortion. I know that there are many people out there that says abortions are okay, but in my belief system, they are not. I knew that I was killing a child, and to say that it didn't bother me, it did. It bothered me greatly, although I acted like it didn't. I presented a good face to the world, but there was no one around me on either pregnancy that was remotely happy that I was having a baby, and there was no emotional support at all for having a baby, just a lot of pressure to abort. So shortly after that, the same father, the same man that I was living with, I got pregnant again. And this time I said, there is no way I'm going to abort. I don't care what I got to do. If it's to leave this relationship, to raise this child alone, I will do that. Well, that leads me to the time of delivery. It was a very difficult pregnancy and a very difficult delivery. 29 and a half hours of labor. The doctors decided that I was not going to be able to deliver this baby naturally. So my son was stuck in the birth canal. His heartbeat was getting fainter and fainter. My blood pressure was out of control. So they were very concerned about my blood pressure and about losing my son. So they put me into an emergency C-section. And I was being wheeled in by the anesthesiologist and nurse, and he put me under. And at that point, I only saw the anesthesiologist. There was no one else in the room when I was put under. And the next thing I knew, I was floating above myself on the ceiling of the surgery room. And I'm looking around, and I knew it was me, but I was trying to connect. How am I seeing these doctors frantically working on me? And there were nurses coming in and out, rushing in and out. And these two doctors were frantically working on me. I had no idea what was going on, but I was stunned over the fact that I could see this going on. And I'm thinking, what's happening to me? Well, the minute I thought that is when everything went totally black. And I remember trying to see my hands, looking down to see if I could see my feet, and I couldn't see a thing. It was that black. I had never experienced darkness to that extent in my entire life, where you just couldn't see anything in front of you or below you or around you at all. So you can imagine then at that point, I realized I must have been dead. And because of my Catholic upbringing, and because I had had the 2 abortions, which I had never confessed, I thought that I was in hell or going to hell. So I couldn't feel my body, but I sensed my body, if that makes sense. And so this enormous fear and terror came across me, and I cried out, God, please, please don't send me to hell, please. And then the next thing I knew, I saw this little teeny tiny light, like a pinpoint of a light. and I started moving towards the light. Now, I consciously moved towards the light. Some people I know have reported they were pulled to it. I consciously moved towards the light. And that was the thing that became just apparently abundant to me. Being on the other side is you are still yourself. You've got your same personality. You've got your same thoughts, same fears. You're the same. The only difference is you don't have a body. So as I was moving towards this light, this comfort started just pouring over me. And the closer I got to the light, the less fear I had and the less terror I had. And I just started feeling more and more comfortable and more hopeful. And then I started feeling just this incredible love just coming through me. And so the closer I got to the light, it went from like total blackness to dark gray to light gray to the white light of God. And I knew it was God. I could sense it was God. But, and this is what I've always struggled with, is where was I really? Was I in purgatory? Because it didn't feel like God was letting me into heaven, although he gave me the grace and the blessing to feel his love, to feel his joy, and all of the guilt and the shame and the pain and the suffering and the agony just fell away, completely fell away. Being in God's presence, that white light that you can look up into, but you don't feel it stinging your eyes or hurting your eyes. I don't know if we even have eyes, but when you're looking into that white light of God, all you can feel is love and joy, nothing else. It was the most incredible love and joy I have ever felt in my life. There is no words to adequately describe what that feeling is. It is incredible, and you'll never, ever be able to have that feeling here on earth. That is God's love and God's joy. And the warmth just flowed through me. His warmth just flowed through me. It was the most amazing experience I've ever had in my entire life. And I still try to hold on to that experience. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. I don't know how long I was there. There were two beings with me, but I didn't see them. I only heard them through my thoughts, but I don't know who they were. I just don't know. And they told me that I was given a choice. I could stay or I could go back. And I asked them, well, if I stayed, what will happen to my son? And they said, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And that's all the information I got. And I just remember wrestling with it so much, because believe me, everyone, when you experience what I experienced on the other side, you don't want to come back to this earth of pain and suffering. You don't want to come back to the physical constraints of this body. It's just when you're over on the other side, your whole being is expanded, and the feelings are 1,000, 1,000,000 times more strong than they are here on earth. And you don't have pain and suffering. Physical pain, emotional pain is gone. So I was really struggling with this. And I told them that I had to go back. They said, well, you have to make a decision. And I said, I have to go back. I can't leave my baby. And in the next moment, I remember waking up. Here, I thought I just delivered a baby. And my mother comes to my bed and said, "Oh, she's awake, she's awake." And then a nurse came in and explained to me that I had been unconscious for 4 days, that I had died, that my son had died too, and they were able to bring us both back. So it was 4 days after I had the emergency C-section. I don't know if I was in heaven for 4 days. I don't know. All I know is when I came back and I woke up, it felt like my spirit was trying to be squeezed into like a bottle. It was painful to have my spirit come back into my body. I felt physical pain. The nurse said that I shouldn't have felt pain because I was on some kind of drip, but it was physically painful to come back into my body. People were afraid of dying. I wasn't afraid of dying. If I got it, and which I did, I wasn't afraid of dying because I knew what the other side looked like and how much better it is on the other side. Now, I'm not saying I wanted to die, but I wasn't afraid to die because I want to be a story of hope. You have no idea how beautiful it is on the other side. Life doesn't end on this earth. You go on forever and ever, which is why I created my own YouTube channel, The Eternal Life Plan. Didn't start out to be that way, but I was inspired to start it with the name Eternal Life Plan. We never stop living. And matter of fact, we live more abundantly on the other side and more joyfully and more loving. And the whole purpose of us being here is not to be fighting each other, but to loving each other. I do not have any fear of death now. After experiencing the near-death experience, even through the years raising my son, I've never feared death once. Matter of fact, I look forward to it when it's my time. But the beauty of God is, he gave me a choice. He still gave me free will on the other side. I had the free will to stay or go back. So that's one of the graces of God. Living a life that I did whatever I wanted. And yet, he had the mercy to save me. I know some people don't believe in hell, but I do. It's not because I saw it. I felt it. That fear and terror was hell. And I do believe that people have a choice to go to heaven or to hell.